mipango na miradi ya serikali katika wizara zote, na vile kutekeleza jukumu lingine lolote ambalo ataweza kupewa Rais Dr. William Ruto. Basi haya tu ni baadhi ya majukumu wameweza kupewa naibu rais ambaye ni Rigathi Gachagua, na vile vile waziri mwenye mamlaka makuu ambaye ni Musalia Mudavadi.
Emoni goboto loiset eng report ne kaibwesinia Andrew Kimeto.
Eng kasarta nekebarasta president nebo emoni Dr. William Ruto cabinet nenyi kokoimonge meng'ikab county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet akoboibochi lewenetab Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen ne senator nebo county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet kotelelji boroindo nebo teksetab ortinwek ak teksosiek eng emoni.
Kokochinoi lakwet nenyo Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen ako kwa inendet koek senator nenyo kotatam ko kakokelwech kelchin kakokuiwech arap Ruto koek CS nebo roads ko ache keboiboen kabisa kinget kele kakenyor serikalit ang kokichenge serikalit ak kakenyor akonyoi ka akonyoi Elgeyo Marakwet county ama kakekwei Murkomen koek CS kekwei kora senator nebo Elgeyo Marakwet ko pongezi noto eng Mr. Ruto, President Ruto amu ngenyoru CS ak kenyoru senator ake kora ko kakenyoru tuguk aeng kama Elgeyo Marakwet.
Nang Murkomen eng St. Patrick High School yutuye unda form 1 aketar 98 togol. Ketar 98 togol eng St. Patrick. Akonyor B+ tuguk somanji sheria. Sasa I'm very happy that he's growing from one step to another. He is now from Senate to Cabinet Secretary.
Kimache kewechi kongoi William Samoei Arap Ruto amu kakokusie kong achek biikab Elgeyo Marakwet County akokonech in the history of this Republic of Kenya kakikonech minister neteleldochine barabaresiek ak infrastructure netomo kenyoru ngap kenyoru independence.
Kamwa meng'ichoto kole kikotok boisionik chikoyai Murkomen ako kabunji kamanut katororonoto.
Kimache keweku kongoi bwana Senator Murkomen ako kingen achek kele akot kwa vijana kengen kele nitoni ko hard work. Kakotok kole ngiyai chito kasi kelyochin inye kerewardenin ako nekakero raini reward.
Kokakiro kila kweli kulingana na ujuzi ningwai. So kikere kele serikali nebo William Ruto ak asalas kokafaitikan kabisa amu kakiro biik chakwai kele biik che muche koyai kasit.
Tindo kamang'unet meng'ichoto kole wendi Murkomen kotare boisietab teksetab ortinwek chekitelel serikalit nekosirtoi eng county noto bo Elgeyo Marakwet.
Kingen kele kokakekwei Kipchumba Murkomen as the cabinet minister nebo roads koyokse barabaresiek tugul. Kimache kemwa kongoi Kipchumba ak kemache kelechi pongezi sana eng kasit nekayai.
Kibwoti kele 5 years chekanam serikalitab UDA kenget kele tesetai kasit mzuri. Sisi kama ache biikab Elgeyo Marakwet kenye kelchin kinget kele mi oratinwek kitom keyai mi chekiagenten system kenget kele kimondoi Kipchumba Murkomen ole kikaita kasi for the last 10 years ak nekokikochi rang koek CS komami kiy neketesei. Kiboiboen kabisa keba Elgeyo Marakwet County. Kinyoru tuguk chechang konyor minister barabarosiek chekimakitar kemuchi ketarwech nga ko minister nebo roads kobo Kenya mzima, lakini ngoker kora chebo kauli komuchi kotarwech. Kimi barabarosiek chekiyong'et kunin wendi tot abwati ale ngokakonyo inendet ra ketarwech oranoto ak oratinwek alak cheking'et.
Kong'ete county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet, logoiwekab emet chebo Kass, kainenyu ko Andrew Kimeto.
Kosubkei ak noto nguni kochulat kele tokchingei county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet lewenisiet komalo asi kelewen inendet neigeroni poroindo ne kakikoito President Dr. William Ruto kokochi inendet Kipchumba Murkomen koek minister ak eng kebeberwek alak kora komitei boroinwek che kakikochi kandoik alak kou Alice Wahome ne kakikochi ministry akine koborugei kole kiyoe lewenisiet eng olin bo Kandara asi konyor chito neikeroni nguni awoitun kainaik kityo nguni kou karoretab kabarastaonotok po President Dr. William Ruto ko nguni inendet ne kitoeku running mate nebo Dr. William Ruto eng campaigns Kithure Kindiki ko inendet neeku minister. Professor Kithure Kindiki koeku minister nebo ripsetab kalyet eng emet orit. Njuguna Ndung'u ko inendet neeku minister nebo legutab emoni. Public service ko Aisha Jumwa ne ki MP nebo Malindi kiborchingei koek governor nebo Kilifi. Aden Duale ne kikamwa eng kasarta age kole ye President Dr. William Ruto kwendi kamung'et eng bolotet ko keborgei kora kole kakoekurgei nitok nebo kamung'etnyi ye kangelewen koek inendet minister nebo asikarikab luget anan nebo defense. Foreign Affairs tilyandit emotinwekab sang ko inendet kandoindetab maendeleo chapchap Alfred Mutua netelelchin ng'alekab mung'aret ak industries ko Moses Kuria Gregory Mulemi kotelelchin tilyanditab emotinwekab Africa Congress anan East African Community. Rebecca Miano Rebecca Miano ko netelelchin kebeberata po tilyanditab emotinwekab Africa Congress Glendera Miako to notok eng yotok atilil kaino notok transport anan loiset ku kamwa ko Murkomen ng'alekab itonwekab emet ko kawek kebeberta nebo Masai ole kinomu Keriako Topiko ko nguni kokikochi Soiban Tuya ng'alekab mbarenik ko onamo Sakaraya Njiru ko namo inendet Farida Karone tourism ko namo Najib Balala kokikochi Penina Malonsa kabatishet neko namo Peter Monya kobun Meru ko nguni kikochin Senator Mithika Linturi neko ibeljingei koek governor nebo Meru kobate kikibel inendet ICT ko kanyor inendet Eliud Owalo ne ko namu Jo Mushero somanet ne ko namu Professor George Mahoa konguni kobo Ezekiel Machokum energy and petroleum kimnatoshek ko po Davis Chirchir ne ko chief of staff and staff deputy president Ababu Namwamba ne ko ibwotin biik chechang kole kikochin ministry nebo tilyanditab emotinwekab sang ko kikikochi ministry nebo urerioshek kyako namu pesho cooperatives ko mitei Simon Chelugui ak mining ko Salim Mvuriam. Labor and Social Protection ko mitei Florence Bore ne ki women rep nebo county nebo Kericho. Ko tigonindet nebo ng'alekab imandab kwonyi ko Ariet Kigai ak eng kebeberta nebo tigonetab ng'alekab kalyet National Security Advisor ko Monica Juma ne kiakoek minister nebo tilyanditab emotinwekab sang ak nebo defense. Attorney General ko inendet ne ko speaker inendet ko Muturi Njokam ak sirindet nebo cabinet ko ego Masi Wanjau ak yekistoege noto kotegemitei kakwautik chebo serikali eng betutab rani ko karonetab rani ko kayai President Dr. William Ruto tuyet ne kaituyo ak ministaek chebo serikalitab President Uhuru Kenyatta tuyet ne kagiyai eng kotab bororiot Nairobi ne komitei ministaek tugul chikoboto neko minister nebo ripsetab kalyet eng emet orit Daktari Fred Matiang'i, Peter Monya eng kwenutab alak.
Tindoi kamang'unet neo kanetik eng county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet kole yeimong President Dr. William Ruto cabinet nenyinet kowendi komong'u CS neikuitos magutikab somanet asikeistoe kaimutik kou chekotestai keboryenji eng nguni chebo CBC kosubkei ak sirindet nebo Kuppet mornetab Elgeyo Marakwet County Paul Biwott komwa kole CS nemiten nguni nebo somanet ko kituptochi batai stakeholders chebo somanet eng kasarta nekichobe ministry noto magutik chebo CBC.
Angen ane with our president
Istoege noto kotegemitei eng serikali kokibor kamang'unet konetikab kibagengeitab Kuppet eng county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet eng mwaet kole imong'u ichek kole serikalitab Dr. William Ruto koibu walet nekararan eng sekta nebo somanet akoistochi kaimutik kipsomaninik ak konetik eng report nekinyoru kong'ete sirindenyo kong'ete kebeberta nebo Elgeyo Marakwet konyile Andrew Kimeto.
Tindoi kamang'unet neo kanetik eng county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet kole yeimong President Dr. William Ruto cabinet nenyinet kowendi komong'u CS neiguitos magutikab somanet asikeistoe kaimutik kou chekotestai keboryenji eng nguni chebo CBC kosubkei ak sirindet nebo Kuppet mornetab Elgeyo Marakwet County Paul Biwott komwa kole CS nemite nguni nebo somanet ko kituptochi batai stakeholders chebo somanet eng kasarta nekichobe ministry noto magutik chebo CBC.
angen ane with our president nimi saisi daktari angen kole hakikishana kabisa kole konech a very good CS nebo education nemwoe ng'alek chichi kityo nemo komi kit nemoche lazima ku consult stakeholders ako chi nematindoi kiburi angen kabisa with my confidence alen our president will give us somebody nayoe kasi kabisa ne kou CS nebo education komi anything any change anything sio mabiik chebire ketakat so alen president kokonech an educationist ne kisomanchi ng'alek chebo education melen kiyobu chi pengine daktari anan chi noe ne ko keibu kinyo Ministry of Education so kimeche kabisa kokonech chi nikiwo line nebo education kabisa nikuye ng'alekab education komi anything lazima konyo ko consultant to the correct stakeholders yeah so kisoma president kabisa koyo kouno look for somebody neyoe kasi kabisa ako chi ningen ng'alek chebo education ne nikimeche eng education makiibu chi nekimasomanchi education kole kinyo koek CS nebo education.
Kaikimit komwa Biwott kole bo kamanut kabarastaet nekimong president kole tau kamiti newendi kocheng'e walutietab kipchulia kotinygei ak kaimutik choto bo CBC.
Abwate kole CBC ko kimakyai ak oret nekikimache amu ki lazima kehusishan raia kotomo ketou. Kiyai makosa serikali nekimito kwanza mahusishan raia lakini ikere 844 ak CBC ko kargei amu initially kimi subject actually art and craft, music, home science ko kimito iker CBC nemwoe saisi ko kargei so kokisoma kityo kole raia wataamua ingawa akere kole it is an economic for the parents meche kityo kole CBC ni kora wananchi uke serikali yoe ke improve na 844 amu kargei.
Akot kunotok ko karirtae biwot tetutienotok bo CBC eng kasarta netat kochut junior secondary kipsomaninikab klasitab lo eng nekamwa kole machobotin sukulishek chechang chebo secondary kosuldae tetutienotok bo CBC.
Iker lagok nebo klasit kele wendi form 1 hata unashanga like next year kitindoi 2 classes chebendi form 1 class 6 or class 8. So itep even any principal nyebendi school logo this kind kule moi tayari for those 2 classes. So kamache ke improve kityo 844 keachi tuguk chekimache kotestai 844 amu momi makosa nekitindoi. Iker lagok nemining class 6 tomo konai akot kurkuriet. So korom zaidi.
Kongete county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet logoiwekab emet chebo Kass, kainenyu ko Andrew Kimeto.
Ito nguni Bomet asitikenyoru ng'alaletab meng'ikab emoni mising kobun kebeberatak bo Bomet akobo kakwautiet nebo kabarastaetab ministaek eng serikalit nelel nebo Dr. William Ruto. Sirikyo eng kebeberatak Festus Rono ak Sylvester Rono komitei kebeberatak bo Bomet asikoarorwech Festus Rono ngotinyorwech oarorech.
Masinde Benising Nicholas Lele kouye kemwa miten county nebo Bomet kimiten Orbaricho anan kikuren taonit nebo Bomet ireuton batenyunet ko barabaret ne naat ko Kipchamba Street nekit ak office nenyo nebo Kass en ireuton ak benkit nebo Family Bank. Ko en ngalalet nekemwa en dayon ko ketiny kabarastaet nekakon president nebo emoni noton ko Daktari William Samoei Ruto nekalewen ministaek chemoche kobois tugul en serikalinyinet. En lewenonoton ko biik imuch kemwa kele biik somok chekabwa en kebeberta nebo South Rift noton ko minister nebo kimnatosiek noton ko Davis Chirchir nebunu county nebo Bomet, miten kora minister nebo labor noton ko neki women rep en kebeberta nebo Kericho noton ko Florence Bore ak neki women rep nebo Narok noton ko Soipan Tuya chekakilewen kotebi en ministries cheterter chekimoche kobois en cabinet nebo serikalitab Daktari William Samoei Ruto. Ak en ireu kemiten ak alak en meng'ik chebo county nebo Bomet kemoche kityo kekas kele len ne kakerto ano boisioni kayai, tos kasapoten, tos ikochin kasubet, tos tingen kamang'unet ministries ichuton anan kere komamuchi koyai boisiet kou en manifesto nebo chama katuiyetabgei nebo Kenya Kwanza. So amache kinamen werto nemi batenyunet ireu amemwoe kaineng'ung'et ak imwochi ile kekerto ano lewenetab ministers chekakon president William Ruto.
En kainenyu kekuron Geoffrey Arap Toet. Aweche kongoi kabisa en banganet nekobangan president serikalinyin. Agere ale serikalit nekobangan president ko serikalit newendi koboisiewech, serikalit nangere ale wendi koiwech tuguk chekimokyinige en ngweny en ground ini. Aya kiwekyini kongoi amun banganetab serikalit any nguni ko kit nekaker ko kakararanit kot mising. So biik chekakelewen koba serikali, biik chekakikoi kasisiek kou nondon komoe koboisiewech. Makimoe keba Nairobi kiba koruyo alak koba Mombasa ba koruyoso, kimokochi biik kasit o kasit nekimoche kimoe keker wananchi en ireyutet. So kit nekimoe nguni any ko manifesto nenyonet nekimokyinige en betut en tai kibendi kemoche keker logoekab kasit nekakikonin. Kongoi mising Geoffrey Towet.
Kongoi mising miten ireu werto age kora nemamwoe kainet nekikenaita ko amemwa kaineng'ung'et ak imwochi akine ile kekerto ano.
Ane kekurenon Brian Mutai. Aya nini nekobo cabinet ko free and fair. Kikere kele ko en iman ko koik fair konyor chitugul chito nekomokyingei. So ko kemoche echek vijana ko mami employment neketinye en ground. So en mawaziri chon konyokosire biik kasit eupesenen in kot ko kobo energy kesir biik en energy, kot ko kobo roads kesir biik en roads ak kepesenen the right to whatever neyoche keboisien. Kwane amwoe kityo kongoi ngamun koik free and fair.
Kongoi mising weri ko kibire mpiret kekuren ibire midfield. Miten ireu neki councilor neki nominated en kasarta nekibo chamait age nebore vote. Vote people kama imwa kuren Peter Langat kainet age ko plastic. Kekerto ano ng'alek chebo betutab raini?
Amache in pongezan na technical niko boisien His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto kocher baraza la mawaziri kongeten kan kocher baraza la mawaziri nebo 22 kokoker ole kai research akocherunen kila province kokocher chito representative nebo biik age tugul. Kamache apongezan South Rift nikakonech wazirisiek somok. Kakokonech waziri nebo energy in Chirchir akokonech waziri en Kericho nebo labor Lawrence Bore akokonech Soyan Ole Tuya en komostab Narok. Amache ole kasit nekakoyai William ra kokong'et jukumu waziri koche kasit serikalitab William akoitita the common mwananchi koker kole kaoche kasit the common mwananchi. Serikalitab William ko asolam nikikinamen bottom up kemoche keib bottom up noton kong'eten ng'wony akeba baka barak akong'eten barak akoi ng'wony asikobit kochobok uchumi nebo Kenya. Inguni uchumi nebo Kenya nikonyorto William ko 0 negative. Ko nguni kokowo William kosom international communities which is IMF and World Bank konyokotoret en serikalitab Kenya nikomi critical condition. Among'u ole bichon kakobwa ra kong'eten Musalia Mudavadi Kachagwa kemoche keyai teamwork ne very strong ak kesupport His Excellency Dr. William Ruto kenomchi eut asikobit konyo uchumi nebo Kenya kokaranit. Raia the common mwananchi nguni kwale sukaruk ak nekai 200 shillings. Mwanik ko 180 something. Ak ng'alekab amitwogik kou 2 kilos nebo unga ko 200 shillings. Amache William kokafome serikalit kewech tuguchon kotakwale mwananchi 2 kilos siling 100. Kiale sukaruk siling 100 akonyo uchumi nebo Kenya. In sector nebo education kokaker ole kimache kisten ng'alekab CBC anan ke implementation en CBC asikobit kong'etyi serikalit ele kimoche. Kong'eten konginam CBC chukobo makua kokokekonech tabu. Imuche kelen lagok ibumbusiek ibu mainik kokakoko tabu kotakoib lagok koreben ngokenik mainik. Ko kwa hivyo kiboibo biikab Bomet okakinamen sautit agenge lewenisiet nekayai cabinet William en betutab rani okiwekyini kongoi. Thank you very much and may God bless you.
Kongoi missing noton ko kikansol en kasarta age nekibo chamait nekile kikole watu wengi sana kingomwa kabisa kowirek kotioli taonini ko noniton ko kerenyinet ak keretab biik chebo kaunti nebo Bomet nekekas kole kit nemoche icheket leo ko koker kole kawek uchumi neityin chito nemiten ng'weny ak missing kekono biik chemiten ng'weny choton en mwaetab serikalit niton anan en kasarta nekiyoe campaign nekamwa kole serikalit ko kekonom nemi ng'weny konyo barak noton ko bottom up chito nekure mama mboga chito nekuren chito pikipiki ak bichonton tugul chemiten ng'weny en serikali. Ko nibuch ko chonton kityo ko keretab biik alak chekakimuch ketebsen en betutab rani katotaketebsen chechang chemi yu kobaten amun tesetai logoiwek ako moe keba komoswek alak amoche awekun soet Nicholas Lele asitestai logoiwekab emet kong'eten komositon bo Bomet kemiten ak Festus kekurenon Sylvester Rono.
Ile photo map
Misutik chekiyomis ichek eng sekta nebo konyoiset meche nguni konyoik chotok mitei kibagengeisiek alak chebo konyoiset eng emet komugul. Serikali kosuldae lumdaetab commission nebo Health Service Commission newendi kotelelchin sekta nebo konyoiset eng emet komugul koboto kora ketoi task force anan committee nechikili koimutik che kikobun kibagengeit anan konyoik eng emet komugul ak keker kele kabit walutiet ak aroret nebo arorutik che ichegei chetoreti kekirinda koimutik chekikobun konyoik akotoretok kanabtaetab konyoiset eng emoni.
Kamwa kibagengeit noto ne urwetab kibagengeisiek lo alak kole nyolu kosuldae serikalitab President Ruto koyomisetab commission nenaat ko Health Service Commission eng komong'unet kole lumdaetab commission inoton kokonoptoi konyoiset en emoni.
Hiyo tume ikija itahakikisha kwamba wahudumu wa afya wanapewa mishahara yao kwa muda, kwa wakati mmoja, wanapandishwa vyeo vyao kwa muda ambao umefaa, na pia wanaruhusiwa kwenda kuongeza masomo yao, kwa sababu hiyo inakubalika kikatiba. Na haya yakiweza kutatuliwa, basi tutakuwa tumetatua donda sugu ambalo tumekuwepo nalo, migomo kila mara katika sekta yetu ya afya.
Kora komache kibagengeit po KHPS serikali kotoi task force neituitos stakeholders tugul chebo konyoiset asikochikil kaimutik tugul eng sektainoton ak koaror kakwautik ak ortinwek chekitertere kaimutik choto en oret ne namegei ak ng'atutik.
The National Task Force will actually ask as element to standardize all the other task forces in the country. We are calling also that there's need to employ healthcare workers. We saw in the manifesto, there's a plan to recruit 20,000 healthcare workers. But as we have known, because we have been in this country where there's politics of the county government and politics of the Ministry of Health, there's actual need to standardize and to see that the 20,000 healthcare workers that were to be employed within the first 100 days, how are they going to be employed?
Eng kasaratak kakon kurset KHPS koityi counties chesire 30 chetomo kokochi melekwokik chebo arawek 3 konyoi kosulda magutikwak. Kaikochi counties ichotok betusiek 40 koityi magutikab konyoik anan kongeleljin icheket boisiet.
In the next 40 days, and by that I mean by 5th of November, if we have any county that shall have not paid the workers, the healthcare workers, their salaries, and have not remitted salary reduction, then we will not, at that particular time, sympathize with the governors. But we will ask those workers not to be at work and to wait until all those salary reductions are done. And this is a bargain and is a demand for all the healthcare workers. Therefore, all the governors need to make sure that this time period that they came to the office, they should fix the healthcare.
Kaibor kora kaimetabkei kibagengeinoton bo konyoik en kit nekamwa kole mochobotin konyoik en boryetab Ebola nekokoit emetab Uganda.
We have not even rolled out sensitization and training for health workers in regards to Ebola. I can give the government credit that they have been able to beef up the screening in the points of entry. But we need to be more vigilant and we need to prepare health workers so that they can be able to respond. Because now we are having a conversation. But if we were to have that disease in this country, things will be very different. I doubt even we will be able to even come here and have this conversation.
Aripotenjini Kass kainenyu ko June Chepkemoi.
Yekistoege notok kebendi akoi county nebo Nandi ole kabit rirek eng alak chekikiboitinikab kibagengeitab lewenisiet ak kiwatoshek IEBC kole akoi nguni kotomo konyor melektanywa eng boisiet nekiyochi kibagengeit notok bo IEBC eng lewenisiet ne kosirtoi. Nguni kokikoito kateunet komache ichek kekochi melekotok asikomuch kosuldae boisionikwak kou eng koyomiset eng report neibwech sirinyo kong'ete county notok po Nandi, Nelson Tarbei.
Kong'alaljin ketesiani kokebata igorta agenge nebo mashishi eng komasta nebo Kaptumo kobor ine kaimetabgei kotinygei ak nekamwa ine kole kokoib kasarta nekoi lipanetab neranichoto kitelelchi lewenisiet nekosirtoi.
Akotom kelipanin kijanaekcho. Kijanaek nguni chechang chekikakisir ko chekikabwa college komeche kowek college kokowek alake akotom kelipan. Ngelen kenyoru nguni biikab IEBC makenyoru nguni. Ko kameche asom ngotko kaso agenge eng icheket eng ole mi. Ameche asom alechi eng Kaptumo Kaboi kakikochi wikit agenge koker kole kasoten anan kalipan kijanaek. Makat konyor kijanaek chok melekto ak biik tugul chekikoboisiechi IEBC konyor melektanywa eng kasit nekararan nekikayai.
Kasom ine kibagenge noto bo lewenisiet konoisechi neranichoto amune asikokoib kasarta nekoi lipanenwa. Ole kamwa ine kole akoi neni komami logoiyot age tugul.
Kaming'inetabgei otyokchi kijanaek chepkondok. Ngot komi shida age tugul omwochi kijanaek chotok ngot komi kiy nemami anan ko kiy age tugul kemeche komwoiwech akot ane ko MCA nebo area sikiro kele kakichul ng'alechoto.
Kotinygei ak katoldoleiwek chetestai kokoitoi serikali eng kalyet nemitei ng'ony koboiboichin nito. Ole kamwa ine kole nito ko oret agenge nebo ketoret kabatik.
Kimeche keboisie pamoja sikeker kele kanyor wakulima chechok hasa chekole chaik ak chebo amitwogik chun alak. Kemeche ketoret wakulima mara moja ngo kakiboisie kirwokik, ngo kakiboisie ward administrators ak biik cheu choto siketoretkei keker kele kanyor wakulima mbolea.
Kamwa ine kora kole boibochin ichek kakwautiet nekiamis kandoindetab emet kole kebendi keibe keretab biikab emet kotinygei ak somanetab CBC.
Mitei kaimutiet neo kot mising. Ker agenge eng aspects chekikere eng CBC ko ni ole betoi lagok korok the next stage mengechen lagok ak kemeche koba secondary. Number 2, kakileji sigindet kotoret lakwet eng homework ak kengen most of the wazazi chechang ko hustlers oindo mi akot chemasoman tatya ileji ketoret lakwet eng homework ako mzazi korok mara masomana mi tuguk chekemoche kou gasit wazazi chechang koboisie kwenik ak kakeleji lakwet koib gasit kwo school, kakeleji lakwet kora koib ngokiet kwo school. Ngokiet mapkiwegu ikere ile imuch eng kapchi komi ngokiet agenge so ameche asom kabisa kechokchi ng'alek chekoae makoa ko mako ng'alek chetakemeche takotestai.
Kong'etegei county nebo Nandi logoiwekab emet chebo Kass, kainenyu ko Nelson Tarmbei.
Ngetokchigei nguni county nebo Uasin Gishu ole kakikoito kurset koityi meng'ikab kebeberwechotok bo county nebo Uasin Gishu kokimit kolsetab ketik ak ripsetab kondametusiekab beek mising eng kasarta ne ikeni eng kanaset nebo Uasin Gishu anan Eldoret town kekanapta ko eng kanaset neo anan city eng kakwautik chetorchingei kanaptaetab county notok bo Uasin Gishu. Nitok kosubkei ak ofisayat neo nebo kampunitab beek nebo Eldowas Peter Biwott ne kamwa kole wendi kampunit notok kokoitoi kanetisiet eng biikab emet kotinygei ak kamanutietab ketik eng report nebo sirenyo Isaac Kogei.
Kong'ololi eng kasarta nekarutochi ainetab Chebara nemitei eng county nebo Elgeyo Marakwet, komwa ofisayat neo eng kampunitab letaetab beek nebo Eldowas Peter Biwott kole nyolu eng stakeholders tugul kotoretkei koro kole kanyor taonitab Eldoret beek cheyomei amait kotokchigei katororetab koek taonit neo.
For water and sanitation, we are happy that His Excellency the Governor has committed that he's going to reach out and ensure that Kipkaren water treatment works is completed as soon as possible. The Two Rivers Dam is done. The Kimumu sewerage is also done, so that as we move towards the city, every citizen is able to enjoy adequate potable water across town.
Kosubkei ak ofisayat neo netonondochin itonwekab emet eng county nebo Uasin Gishu Mary Njogu kotinye tetutik chotok chebo kokimit katililetab beek ak kamoswek chotok cheboto kondametusiekab beek eng notok nebo konyorchigei beek chetililen.
Apart from Eldowas, we are also coming up with the rural water company in Uasin Gishu, so that our people in the rural area can get a good supply of clean potable water, and also that it cushions the water from Chebara to Eldoret, so that we Eldoret people and the environs can get enough water. So that rural water company is going to subsidize and also help other people in all the areas in Uasin Gishu apart from the Eldoret municipality.
Kosom Njogu biikab emet kokimit kolsetab ketik asikobit kerib itonwekab emet notok nebo keityi emoni kebeberta 10 anan 10% forest cover.
Climate change is here with us, and we are encouraging our citizens to be more active, proactive in matters of conservation and also mitigation and adaptation of climate change. Therefore, we have a deliberate move in planting and growing trees and engaging the people from mashinani, so that every person takes that responsibility of conserving the environment.
Kamite eng rutoyoto Governor nebo Uasin Gishu Jonathan B nekamwa kole bendi kokimiti serikalinyi ripsetab itonwekab emet akoro kole kaityi biik tugul magutik chotok chenyolu.
We need water. We need water to the farmers. We need to do irrigated agriculture. We need water for health. So I will pursue that vision. And in my Ngusokumi, I want to make sure that we have water. We might not finish everything, but we want to make sure that our households have water, especially the schools, the public facilities, and of course the hospitals.
Kong'etegei taonitab Eldoret eng county nebo Uasin Gishu, logoiwekab emet chebo Kass, kainenyu ko Isaac Kogei.
Kakibe kamung'et chekiwege ketokchigei kebeberta nebo mung'aret kotomo kebe kelongji urerioshek. Meloitu ni ko Kass TV.
Jut Smartphone Network nitindo chepchepindo nemi barak ak inyorchi beit ne nyumnyum. Asinyoru fiber sim card igugulen kityo getfiber.com. Inyit details chekuge ak iyokte. Ibun agents chejok sim card agoi ole imi ako registanin. Furahia mtandao na Fiber Mobile. Fiber Mobile, truly Kenyan.
Messi. Oh, Messi! Mbappe! Oh, my word! Catch every single moment of all 64 matches of the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. Live on SuperSport. Here for every fan. Only on DSTV.
Ibai picture berun simet at kandugule ak skiza tunene.
Ko akubiri kugeni. Ngwanyo nomi ko bilibina ko ya chanju kipo wudiki kana no lingo ni ko labosho moche kuyo ko juki ko pesen. Haliwoni nini. Ana manameti. Onome ko ba 10. Chijo kai please. Ngo ilabosho. Motinye joy opinion bilibina akashishi.
Asinyoru Pilipina debt kwa skiza tune ngungete ijil *812 *421 hash.
Imarisha burudani yako na Star Times. Jibambe na surprises za kipekee kwenye channel zetu za watoto, filamu za Hollywood, Nollywood na Bollywood. Upinzani unaposisimua magwiji, mabao kalikali kutoka ligi kuu ya Ulaya Bundesliga. Telenovelas moto za kuguza moyo wako. Kama ni wanyamapori au mtindo wa kimaisha, unapata zaidi kwenye Star Times kwa bei ile ile. Jiunge sasa kwenye Aerial Classic Bouquet kwa shilingi 899. Utazame zaidi ya chaneli 75 au Dish Smart Bouquet kwa shilingi 999 tu kwa zaidi ya chaneli 105 kwa siku 30. Burudani ya hali ya juu kwa bei ya furaha.
Itagat kedestai kekushini kebeberta nebo logoiwek chetinyegei ak mung'aret eng nguni. Le eng betutab rani kokemongei chemung'arainik chetinyegei ak dairy eng kebeberta nebo Nandi choto bo kibagengeit nenaat ko Nandi Dairy Cooperative Society akomwa ichek kole maman logoiwek chekokileta kele kikobot sekta nebo dairy eng kebeberata po Nandi. Kamwa ichek kole nguni kotunenot kebeberata kotinye kamang'unet kole koitei arawetab 12 kokakomuch konyor kelchinet neo mising kabatikab tugab chego eng kebeberata. Report nebo sirinyo nendet kong'ete kebeberata.
Kakoesha nebo ng'echeret eng Nandi Dairy Cooperative Union Abraham Rukut logoiwek chekoletake kele kikobot sekta nebo Dairy Cooperatives eng county nebo Nandi akomwa kole tesetai komie cooperatives chebo chego eng county nebo Nandi akomaba iman logoiwek chotok.
Kiyoin tarikishek 16 arawetab 9 ko kiwo chito ne noto moiwei amwa nekekure David Arap Tarus neko aspirant nebo Mosop. Ip ko ngalal ngalek chotolen komwa kole kikome terik Nandi. Makomi terishek chekikingen cheechen cheu Tangina, Kabiyet, Lel Chego ko kikobetyo cho makomi. Amache amwa ale ngolyono noto kimwa chicho komobo iman. Amu kimi ako kikimen kosir yoto ubwoti.
Kiaror kut kole tapotuye cooperatives chebo chego eng county nebo Nandi kokikotesak alyetab chego kong'ete silingishek 24 akoi 41 eng inguni eng litait agenge nebo chego chekilipanchin kabatik ak komong'u kotesak alyonotok akoi silingishek 60 koitei let nebo kenyini.
Ki chego kikioldoe silingishek 24 per liter. Lakini nguno yetab kiumgei terishek sisitu akealde chego ko kikenyoru bargaining power. Kotko nguno kelipanchini mkulima silingishek 41 kitinye kamang'unet kele yekirat chego kebendi silingishek 60 nekelipanchini mkulima.
Kotinygei ak factory nebo chego eng county nebo Nandi komwa arap Rukut kole imong'u bois factory notok koitei arawetab 12 kenyini akomwa kole tinye kamang'unet kole kotkotuyogei dairy cooperatives tugul eng county nebo Nandi komong'u chego chesire litaishek 100,000 eng betut age tugul.
Nekimong'u kele ngomitei arawetab 12 konekit koit kerat anan kokakerat chechotok arawetab 12. Kimi nguno keyoe mobilization. Ako chego chekitindoi nguno up to now ko nekit chego litaishek 60,000. Ko ngobwa 60,000 eng betut ndakobwone terishek chun kekere kele kisire 100,000 amait arawetab 12.
Kong'ete taonitab Kapsabet eng county nebo Nandi, logoiwekab emet chebo Kass kekurena Cyril Chepsiror.
Kongoi Cyril Chepsiror eng report notok kebendi akoi Kericho ole kinyoru sinen ya Robert Siele akobo report netinyegei ak kaimutik chebune chemung'arainikab bodaboda eng kebeberta nebo Kericho. Ole kosubkei ak report nitok po inendet Robert Siele ko kanabutiet neo nguni ko aisurushek chekitile chemung'arainik chotok.
Kong'ololjin keteshoni komwa chemung'arainikab bodaboda en county nebo Kericho kole tokobune uinwekab sobet en mung'arenywan. Ole makat kong'ololjin ak serikalitab county nebo Kericho kotinygei ak rabishek chebo stickers chebo kila arawa asikomaimak icheket en boisionikwak.
Kit neu Kericho county kiyoni kele ndakatirune yeit betut nekakiyonchine ko ndandewei siling bokol ma 300 raini kiyoni kosabo yani keturune siling bokol yeit betut notok.
Miten consultation between us ak county. So unyo kebwa kele kimache keng'alal kele tos kilipanda county akichek kole komolipan. Kokamut biik kidogo nyokotebene kole kimoe kelipan. So kimwochi kele kakelipan siman. Ako mi kora miten chebo association. We have approved miten chebo SACCO. Ko lazima kora itinye indeki koron ikoite kora. Ko arawet ikoite kora en sekta ini.
Kamwa chemung'arainik choton kole choboti kotech county kou biik alak en county noton akonyor akichek kelchinoik en boisionik choton tiengei.
Some of us ketindoi SACCOs, kitindoi groups ak ketindoi merry-go-round. So kokikere kele ngamun kokeng'alalen ng'alekab SACCO zaidi en Kericho county kokechobok kokimi komie. So kibonganotin kiba kityo keker nyeketoretech en ng'alekab bottom up. So en financially keseretos amun makitindoi tuguk chekinome.
Kang'an kole kokoim icheket alyetab mwanik nekolany en emet ole makonyoru kelchinoik icheket en boisionikwak.
Korot kejaribunan ak echek keng'ololjin customer. Korire chitugul, nyone chito akonyo kole imuton ata. Ikere ile rire akine makele chito age tugul korire. So chekimutechini amun momi kit netot keyai oldo age kong'ololji kit nekayan ko sawa. Keyai kounoton polepole. Kenyoru ak echek kit nekokinde kimnotet ak ketestai komie.
Ayoe biashara nebo bodaboda en Naivas stage. En iman en ng'alekab mwanik ko ri ga chitu ani ma chimo customer barage mo customer ana ma tuto ba customer ko to ma to brige da embet mi bari le customer ko to sak mane to suwana kana ne temple ko mi customer ke sio ko mi che ko no ko mi
kacher chamngare ne kala ko ginchiga boisionik kwak en mwaet kole tingen kayanet kandoinatetab President William Ruto nebo kotoret icheket kobit walet en uchumi nebo emoni en kasarta nekotai ichek SACCOs chetingen kamang'unet nebo kotoret icheket.
Kiweche kongoi amun kinde koek superheroes. Ko ingone koek superheroes keweche kongoi noto. Kigere kele toretech kokiyan ki age tugul ko kakoba baramwanik ko ui sobet. Ko kakouit sobet kegere kele kiyoni amun kou kit neu emet uchumi nebo emet so yanam line kingen kele yanam line arab kakesarunoksei.
Kong'eten county nebo Kericho loekab mung'aret chebo Kass kainenyun ko Robert Siele.
Itagat eng kebeberta nebo ureriosiek ole kataune eutab tai eng betutab timitab basketball nebo Kenya Port Authority eng tieng'etab kotir title nenyi nebo Africa Zone 5 Women's Club Championships kosubkei ak nekabir Young Sisters kobun Burundi eng pointisiek 69 eng 42 eng Benjamin Mkapa Indo Arena eng Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Katieche tai pointisiek 19 eng buch defending champions KPA eng quarter netai 19 eng 19 eng quarter nebo aeng. Urereni KPA ak timitab Reg kobun Rwanda eng betutab mutai kotomo kochut quarter final stage. Eng ureriet age koibet urerienyi timitab Kenya nebo Equity Bank eng pointisiek 49 eng 51 urereni ak timitab Misri nebo Alexandria Sporting Club. Urereni timitab Equity ak timitab Nice Legends kobun South Sudan betutab mutai. Ak eng komasta age kopchei pointisiek eng draw nebo golisiek 3 eng 3 eng England ko urereni ak Germany eng kabelisietab UEFA Nations League eng kiwanjetab Wembley.
Rather simple one in the end, as was the penalty from Ilkay Gundogan. Is it across to Kai Havertz, the Chelsea man, with a world-class finish on his left foot as well. 2-0 up, but the roller coaster of a second half would continue not long later. Luke Shaw has taken, and England then with wind in their sails would get a second as well, and equal awarded a penalty which Harry Kane would hammer into the top left corner. But that didn't stop Germany. They didn't want to go home empty-handed, and Kai Havertz there again with an easy tap-in. But
Age ureriet age kokacheng Brenda final chebo Nations League Italy eng kabelisietab golisiek 2 eng buch ko urereni ak timitab Hungary.
There's danger here. Italy have been played in and gifted an early goal. Raspadori, this little gem of a player who scored a jewel of the goal the other night against England. He has been presented with one here by Hungary. Gift wrapped. Barella. Rolled in cutely for Cristante! And DiMarco comes racing in. And Italy have clear daylight. Re-energized, refocused, on course.
Excellent play from the Italians.
Unoto kibojitio logoiwek eng nguni kigurena Nicholas Lelei amakun kasarta nekararan amwaun alechinin igilgei kamage mang'ok Mungu.
Chut smartphone network netindo chepchepindo nemi barak ak inyorchi beit nenyumnyum. Asinyoru fiber sim card igugulen kityo getfiber.com. Inyit details chekuk ak iyokte. Ibun agents chejok sim card akoi ole imi ako registanin. Furahia mtandao na Fiber Mobile. Fiber Mobile, truly Kenyan. Ibaibait pik chebirun simet at kandugule ak skiza tunini.
Police way, police namsimeto, police namsimeto, namwasimet gai.
Hello, kaliai.
Oli namwasimeto police namsimono.
Iko shida gani?
Mi wertaga na kwa msumu nebo mriat nyu.
Arai, wa msumu nebo mriat kwa magati kwa mriat ni complain ni.
Aja autorita kabisa ka msumu weri nebo mriat, mriat na ka msumu nebo jita.
Tugu kwa nganyune. Iko se
autorita gai ka kwa weri namsimeto.
Asinyoru police na msimet ko exkiza tune ngungete ijil *812 *424 #.
A World Cup in the desert? The first one in the Middle East. The first to be held at the end of the year? That's crazy. Get ready for spectacular moves, unbelievable goals, all 64 matches live of the FIFA 2022 World Cup Qatar. Now that's crazy. Catch all the action only on SuperSport on Go TV. Love it.
The new arrivals a day. Shinzo Abe's state funeral in Tokyo marked by pomp and protests. Thousands turn out against staging national honor of the slain former prime minister. After the news, the France 24 debate, a mass mobilization, a sham referendum, and a mysterious explosion near an offline Russian pipeline. The whole world's on edge as fighting-age Russians flee, and Vladimir Putin keeps Ukraine and the West guessing over what happens after he officially annexes Ukrainian territory he occupies. Your thoughts on Facebook and Twitter, #F24Debate. It started with Monday's warning to Danish fishermen, avoid the Baltic Sea area that's the scene of an unusual gas leak. Now seismologists confirmed 3 explosions right near the path of Nord Stream 1 and 2, the Russian gas pipelines to Germany, offline since sanctions over the invasion of Ukraine stiffened. These images courtesy of the Danish military, scientists cautious, politicians sometimes more blunt.
There are 3 leaks, some distance between them, and that is why it is hard to imagine that what is happening is coincidence.
Yet know all the details of what happened, but we see clearly that this is an act of sabotage, an act which likely means a further stage of escalation of the situation in Ukraine.
Over in Germany, where those 2 pipelines arrive, even if they're offline from Russia, correspondent Nick Spicer has more.
Norway's energy ministry warned on Monday that there were unidentified drones flying around its oil rigs and gas facilities. And then we had the explosions that were described in the report we just heard, and seismological institutes reporting from Denmark and from Germany that there were explosions that were not earthquakes, and that clearly something had happened on these 2 pipelines. And just to sort of drill down what these are actually made of, Nord Stream 1 is 2 parallel pipelines, and Nord Stream 2 is a separate one. None of these pipelines is actually pumping gas, of course, but they're full of gas, and that's why you have the bubbles of gas coming to service. Service is actually a know that as energy relationship with Europe, specifically Central and Eastern Europe and Germany, winds down after a 40-year, exchange of gas for money. Norway has just opened a pipeline going to Poland via Denmark. So the timing is really curious.
Nick Spicer. Meanwhile, they're counting ballots in Kremlin-orchestrated referendums, the pretext for Moscow to annex Russian-held regions of Ukraine. And even before that vote count began, after 5 days of polling that included house-to-house searches for voters, they were already announcing 96% in favor of annexation. It all coupled with a spike in tensions with mass mobilization of Russian soldiers. Many are to cross the front line from those Russian areas and avoid a forced enrollment into the military that could follow annexation. France 24's team in Ukraine sat down with a history teacher who recently left the occupied South. She tells of her encounters with Russian soldiers.
In occupied southern Ukraine, Victoria's work made her a target. 10 days ago, this history teacher left the Berdyansk region, which has been occupied by Russian forces since the early days of the invasion. Every day she records online classes for her students, whom she left behind.
Now look closely at the map, this map of Ukraine. You can see the borders of modern Ukraine. Given this course is dangerous, the occupiers enter homes where they look for their devices.
Victoria and her teammates were summoned by Russian soldiers. They were ordered to teach a Russian course in Russian and go to Crimea for training.
We were summoned twice. The first time, they gathered us together. The soldiers told us in a fairly high-handed way that we'd have to cooperate. We refused and they said, okay, we'll bring our own teachers. At first, we didn't feel threatened. Then 2 weeks later, we were summoned again by different soldiers. The commander was very firm. In a room, suddenly, it was very rough.
At great risk, Victoria secretly recorded the officer intimidating her and played the recording for our reporter.
Просто я хотел ваше мнение. Вы согласны, что история на Украине максимально испорчена?
Категорично не згодна.
Что?
Я не согласна, и поэтому я не смогу работать.
Раз вы не хотите преподавать на украинском языке, то, поверьте мне, я сделаю все возможное, чтобы в кратчайшие сроки все вместе со своими семьями выехали с этой территории.
2 months later, Victoria and her family had little choice. The school of the city she has taken refuge in has offered her a job. Victoria has also chosen to continue to teach her students remotely, students who are now forced to study in secret.
In the UK markets, with their eyes squarely on the British pound, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Kwasi Kwarteng, set to meet Wall Street bankers on Wednesday to try to reassure them. The pound has tumbled and bond rates have soared since the announcement of big tax cuts. The UK opposition leader, meanwhile, promising a publicly owned energy company that would run on clean power. Keir Starmer addressing the Labour Party conference as bond and currency markets turned on the Tory government's plan.
Just look at what's happening at the moment. The largest onshore wind farm in Wales. Who owns it? Sweden. Energy bills in Swansea are paying for schools. The Chinese Communist Party has a stake in our nuclear industry. And 5 million people in Britain pay their bills to an energy company owned by France. We will start Great British Energy within the first year of a Labour government. A new company. A new company.
In Japan, a state funeral for slain former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Thousands of mourners gathering near the ceremony, as well as the high and mighty, who included the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, who you see in these images, as well as the likes of the Prime Ministers of India and Australia. There were those in mourning, and there were those protesting over the cost and the fact that a state funeral is held for a civilian leader. Jake Edelstein has more.
We are here attending a protest against the state funeral of Abe today. Behind us is the representative of the group, who is a lawyer.
In 2015, Abe passed laws that allowed Japan to go to war. Ever since then, he has made terrible laws designed to ultimately alter the pacifist constitution.
Abe failed to answer for the many scandals he left behind. I can't understand why tax money should be used to pay for the funeral of a problematic man like that.
Today, many of the protests ended in minor skirmishes. 37 police officers and riot police came here as the protesters were stopped from going any further. While there were angry and slightly violent protests against the state funeral of Shinzo Abe today, you can also see that many of his supporters who benefited from his policies came to pay their respects today.
I benefited greatly from Abenomics. My business flourished, and I wanted to say thanks and pay my respects.
Well, he was Japan's longest-serving prime minister. I thought it would be good to come.
Shinzo Abe was an incredibly divisive figure in life and in death. But one thing is certain, even after his passing, his ghost will be haunting Japan and Japanese society for years to come.
Jake Edelstein. Hurricane Ian has made landfall in Cuba. 50,000 evacuated there. The storm gathering in strength. It's now a Category 4 storm, packing winds in excess of 205 kilometers an hour. Next stop, Florida, where they are hunkering down. Tampa Bay is in the eye of the projected path of Ian. The governor of Florida declaring a statewide emergency. Next, it's the France 24 debate, a mass mobilization, a